Good evening, one and all. Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2022, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 75 years of independence, and also UN Sustainable Development Goals 2030 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute and Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing. So before we start our session, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue today's session. As you all know, every day we do commemoration of various international, national, regional days that are being commemorated by United Nations and partner organizations and also across the world. So today We'll be looking at few such commemorations. So today we have International Day of Rural Women. It is a day dedicated to millions of women living in remote rural places and celebrate the achievements and contributions of these women towards rural development and agriculture. Since its establishment in 1945, the United Nations has worked towards maintaining peace and friendship among all the countries in the world. The UN has carried out several humanitarian projects and passed resolutions and acts for the preservation of the environment. One of the most notable feats of the United Nations is the amount of work it has put into the upliftment and well-being of women, especially rural women. In 1995, during the Fourth World Conference on Women in Beijing, China, the idea of empowering and honoring women was put forward. Since October 16 was celebrated as World Food Day, it was suggested that October 15th be celebrated as International Day of Rural Women to appreciate the contribution of rural women in agriculture, food production, and food safety. So in 2003, during World Summit on Information Society held in Geneva, a resolution was passed for the commitment to building capacity in information and communication technology for all, including women and indigenous people in remote and rural communities. This resolution was taken up during 2005 Tunis Agenda for Information Society in Tunisia. On December 18, 2007, during the United Nations General Assembly, it was declared in its resolution of 62 by 136 that October 15th would be celebrated annually as International Day of Rural Women worldwide. Since then, International Day of Rural Women is observed in many countries globally and celebrates the strength and achievements of these women in sustainability of rural households and general well-being of the community despite the struggles and the stereotypes. So the United Nations is born in 1945 with 51 founding member states, and the idea to celebrate International Day of Rural Women is put forward during the General Assembly in Beijing, China in 1995. In 2000, the World Summit in Geneva, a resolution for working towards the development of information technology for women in rural places is initiated. In 2007, International Day of Rural Women, it is declared in the UN General Assembly that October 15th will be observed as International Day of Rural Women. This year, the theme for the International Day of Rural Women is Rural Women Confront the Global Cost of Living Crisis. On average, women make up more than 40% of the agricultural labor force in developing countries, ranging from 20% in Latin America to 50% or more in parts of Africa and Asia. Less than 50% of landholders worldwide are women. In some countries, over 50% of the girls from poor rural households will be married as children. So this year, with the theme set as Rural Women Confront the Global Cost of Living Crisis, achieving gender equality and empowering women is not only the right thing to do, but it is also a critical ingredient in the fight against extreme poverty, hunger, and malnutrition. Giving women the same opportunities as men could raise agricultural production by 2.5 to 4% in the poorest regions, and the number of malnourished people could be reduced by 12 to 17%. Yet, they face significant discrimination when it comes to land and livestock ownership, equal pay, participation in decision-making entities, and access to resources, credit, and market. In addition to this background, the war in Ukraine has had a devastating impact on not just Ukrainian women, but also women and girls worldwide, especially rural women. According to the latest UN Women Report, the current disruption of the food and energy markets has only intensified gender disparities, causing rates of food insecurity, malnutrition, and energy poverty. The ensuing cost of living crisis has acutely threatened women's livelihoods, health, and well-being. It has been propelled by the war's disruptions of oil and gas supplies and staple food commodities, along with skyrocketing food, fuel, and fertilizer prices, alarming increases in gender-based violence, transactional sex for food and survival, child marriage with girls forced to leave school, and women's and girls' unpaid care and domestic workloads are further endangering women's and girls' physical and mental health. The International Day under the theme Rural Women Confront the Global Cost of Living Crisis, let's recognize the work of these heroines in the food systems of the world, and let's claim rural areas with equal opportunities for all. The invaluable contribution of rural women to development is commendable. The crucial role that women and girls play in ensuring the sustainability of rural households and communities, improving rural livelihoods and overall well-being has been increasingly recognized. Women account for substantial proportion of the agricultural labor force, including informal work, and perform the bulk of unpaid care and domestic work with families and households in rural areas. They make significant contributions to agricultural production, food safety and nutrition, land and natural resource management, and building climate resilience. Even so, women and girls in rural areas suffer disproportionately from multidimensional poverty. While extreme poverty has declined globally, the world's 1 billion people who continue to live in unacceptable conditions of poverty are heavily concentrated in rural areas. Poverty rates in rural areas across most regions are higher than those in urban areas. Yet, smallholder agriculture produces nearly 80% of the food in Asia and sub-Saharan Africa and supports the livelihoods of some 2.5 billion people. Women farmers may be productive and enterprising as their male counterparts, but are less able to access land, credit, agriculture inputs, markets, and high-value agri-food chains, and obtain low prices for their crops. Structural barriers and discriminatory social norms continue to constrain women's decision-making power and political participation in rural households and communities. Women and girls in rural areas lack equal access to productive resources and assets, public services, such as education and healthcare and infrastructure, including water and sanitation, while much of their labor remains invisible and unpaid, even as their workloads become increasingly heavy due to outmigration of men. Globally, with few exceptions, every gender and development indicator for which data are available reveals that rural women fare worse than rural men and urban women, and that they disproportionately experience poverty, exclusion, and effects of climate change. And the war in Ukraine and its worldwide impact on rural women, we can see global food and energy markets are feeling the strain of the war. As the conflict disrupts production and export processes, these essential commodities are becoming less and less available. Producing is more expensive and food prices are spiking abruptly, affecting significantly and disproportionately women and girls living in rural areas. In a new policy paper, UN Women explores the interrelated crisis being driven and exacerbated by the war. UN Women also supports the leadership and participation of rural women in shaping laws, strategies, policies, and programs on all issues that affect their lives. Training equips them with the skills to pursue new livelihoods and adapt technology to their needs. Check their website for more information, personal stories, and digital material to spread the word against the role of the brave woman. Rural women ensure food security for their communities, build climate resilience, and strengthen economies. Yet, gender inequalities such as discriminatory laws and social norms, combined with the fast changing economical, technological, and environmental landscape, restrict their full potential, leaving them far behind men and their urban counterparts. So the share of women working in agriculture by country income level, when we look at the labor, we see low income 64%, lower middle income 42%, middle income 28%, upper middle income 18%, and high income 2%. So this is data as of 2019, and agriculture remains the most important employment sector for women in developing countries and rural areas, a sector that largely falls within the informal economy with little or no social protection and labor rights. So the consequences are lower standard of living, poorer wages and health, limited access to social services, restricted upward mobility, lack of collective voice and agency. And as we have already seen, discussed, land rights, less than 15% of agricultural landowners are women. So less income security, less decision-making power in households and communities, inability to access credit to start a business or improve agricultural productivity. And with respect to reproductive health, around 30% of the rural women give birth without a skilled health worker present compared to only 10% of urban women, with the consequences increased chances of life-threatening complications, severe bleeding, infection, and maternal mortality. And with respect to water, population with access to safe drinking water, rural areas have 60%, and 86% in urban areas. And women and girls are often responsible for fetching water in rural areas. With the consequences, barriers to education and employment, more unpaid domestic work, higher risk of maternal mortality and violence, psychosocial stress. When we look at child marriage, girls from poor rural households are significantly more likely to be married before the age of 18 than girls from wealthy urban areas. In some countries, over 50% of the girls from poor rural households will be married as children. With the consequences, barriers to education and employment, greater risk for intimate partner violence, early pregnancy, maternal complications, vulnerability to STIs, STDs, including HIV. With respect to literacy, only 2% of the poorest rural women in low-income countries complete upper secondary school. With the consequences, barriers to employment and decision making, lower income, lower quality jobs, increased health consequences, decreased individual and social well-being. With respect to ICT, most of the 3.7 billion people are not connected to internet, 10 to poorer, less educated, and rural women and girls. With the consequences, limited means of getting new skills, information, and knowledge, decreased livelihoods, well-being and resilience, limited economic opportunities. So empowering rural women and girls requires decent work and social protection, education and training, sustainable energy and technology, clean water and sanitation, eliminating violence and harmful practices, including women in decision making and leadership, increasing women's climate resilience. And the theme for International Day of Rural Women highlights the essential role that women and girls play in the food systems of the world, from production of crops to processing, preparing, and distributing foods. Women's labor, paid and unpaid, feeds their families, communities, and the world. Yet, they do not wield equal power with men, and as a result, they earn less income and experience higher food insecurity. Despite our planet capacity to provide sufficient food and good food for all, hunger, malnourishment, and food insecurity are rising in many parts of the world. The COVID-19 pandemic, along with the climate crisis, have made matters worse. Some 2.37 billion people did not have enough to eat in 2020. That's 20% more than the year before. The UN's latest report, UN Women's Beyond COVID-19, a feminist plan for sustainable social justice, calls for rebuilding the broken global food system from bottom up by supporting rural women's livelihoods to produce and distribute diverse and healthy food groups. With less than 10 years to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, including Zero Hunger, Goal 2, and Gender Equality, Goal 5, UN Women is working to support rural women and girls around the world to build their resilience, skills, and leadership. So this day, International Day of Rural Women, offers us a renewed opportunity to commit in a different way, organizing our world to build on the vision of feminist plan and to outcomes and stakeholder commitments of the recent United Nations Food System Summit, so that rural women benefit equally from their productivity with good food enjoyed by all. Let's watch a short video.
मोर खाली गोटे मन भितर थिला जे पाठ पढ़ी माने मोर आ किछि नहीं। मु आ रोजगार मते आ कोठी के चाकरी दबो जे मु चाकरी करबे, जा भी हो चाष बास करबे एमती आ। तो एटा मु भाबितिली किंतु घटे माने हाँ 1.5 मास 2 मास भितर 2,26,000 टंका रोजगार होइतिला। सारा पकेले निहाती माटी टाण हबो, जेतेबेले रुआ समय पावर टिलर हो ट्रैक्टर हो थोड़े चोसले सी आ कादुआ हुए ना। तो जदि आमे जो बिल कि खत पकई थाउ कि जैविक सार पकई थाउ से बिल नरम था। 2019-20 रे एमती जो आमर यूएन वुमेन द्वितीय सुजोग प्रदान साहाय्य से माने एमती ट्रेनिंग मीटिंग कले। तो से सेतेबेले से माने कहिथिले जे ऑर्गेनिक रो माने एमती जदी करा जाय हमर बिलो रे जो जिया सब मरि जानते रासायनिक सार रे, तो हमर जैविक सार जदी पका जाय सेठी जिया रहिबे माटी नरमा हबो। तो एया भाभी कि मु कहली नहीं मु करबी, लाभ हो बा क्षति हो मु करबी।
एंटरप्राइज में मेजरली हम लोग महिलाओं को कैसे वो आगे बढ़ के एक अपना व्यापार खुद से चला पाएँ और आत्मनिर्भर हो पाएँ। तो उसी में हम लोग जितना सारे महिलाएं हैं वो महिलाओं को हम लोग ट्रेनिंग देते हैं कि कैसे अपना बिजनेस प्लान बनाना है, एडवर्टाइजमेंट कैसे करेंगे, इन्वेस्टमेंट जो होगा उसका कॉस्ट कहाँ से मोबिलाइज होगा। उसके साथ साथ उनको जेंडर के अराउंड में ग्रूम करते हैं, कैसे वो इंडिपेंडेंट हो पाए, अपना आवाज़ खुल के रख पाए।
जहाँ भी हो जब 1,00,000 टंका जदि स्वामी दरमा पाइला हेले भी हाथ पोतवा पड़ुछि जे माने मते एतकी दियो, जदि नाही हेले नाही पड़ा। से जिनसटा माने निजे जदि रोजगार कले तांकर से जो माने जहाँ किछि भी दरकार हैला तांकर निजे चल जबे। लोक माने माने आगरो टिके एमती चुमकीर माँ कि जटियार माँ एमती डाकती, किंतु एबे तो हम घर लोक भी डाकुछंती सुकांती, गाँ लोक भी समस्ते एबे सुकांती दीदी बोली के कहछंती।
जब परिस्थितियों ने हमें एक नहीं कई बार रोका, तब जिंदगी ने हमें दिया दूसरा मौका।
This is one of the initiatives that is taken up by UN Women. Many such initiatives are being carried out. So we can define, how do we define rural women in a larger context? They are active agents of social economic change. In numerous ways, they are constrained to their roles as caregivers, producers, consumers, investors, and farmers. So one of the best ways we can contribute to women's empowerment is getting them involved in the campaigns run by UN Women. Some of these campaigns are He for She, Second Chance, Unite by 2030 to End Violence Against Women, Planet 50/50 by 2030, and UN networks like Empower Women, I Know Politics provide an online platform where people can participate in the contribution towards women's empowerment. So let's briefly look at UN's women few milestones. President of Child, Micheline Bassett, was appointed as the head of United Nations Women in 2010, was the first head, and Ogilvy and Mather collaborated with UN Women to produce a series of ads to reveal the widespread prevalence of sexism on the internet. And UN Women leads the celebrations, is one of the leading organizations that coordinates International Women's Day events and celebrations. UN Women helps pregnant mothers, helps over than 1 million women a month to have safe pregnancies. and UN Women honors Goodwill Ambassadors, women who has honored several celebrities, including Nicole Kidman and Emma Watson, and the honorific title UN Women Goodwill Ambassador. So this day allows us to understand the struggles faced by the women, especially in rural places. It allows us to appreciate the hard work and contributions of these women in agriculture and the development of rural communities. It reminds us that there are millions of women in remote rural areas who need our help, from basic amenities to financial aids. There's a plenty of ways we can reach out and make a difference in the lives of these women. Women are subjected to different types of social and gender norms. Through the lives of women in cities are improving, the women in rural areas are still fighting stereotypes and prejudices against them. This day calls for standing up for these women and supporting them in breaking free from the shackles of societal norms and discrimination. So let's look into the other commemorations. Today is also International Dasara. October 15th is also known as Kullu Dasara, the famous international Dasara festival celebrated in Himachal Pradesh in northern India. Dasara at Kullu begins on the 10th day of Navaratri, which is held in October and continues for 7 days. So the festival commemorates the installment of the deity Lord Raghunath in the Kullu Valley. To devotees, the festival also symbolizes the triumph of good over evil. The celebrations are massive, with thousands of tourists from around the globe, music, food, dancing, group performance, and colorful attire makes up the fascinating aura of Dasara. In 1972, Kullu Dasara was recognized as an international event. Kullu Valley was also known as Kulantapita, Valley of Gods, is renowned for its annual Grand Dasara celebrations, attracting thousands of tourists worldwide. The Kullu Dasara festival dates back to 16th century to the legend of the king Jagat Singh of Kullu, who installed an idol of Raghunath on his throne as an act of repentance. Historians indicate that the Lord Raghunath's idol was brought to Kullu from Ayodhya in 1651 during the king's rule. So King Jagat Singh invited all deities to come to pay tribute to Lord Raghunath, and thus began the annual Dasara celebration, which continues to this day. He also proclaimed Lord Raghunath as supreme deity of Kullu Valley. The celebrations of Kullu Dasara festival involve music and dance. The colorful decoration symbolizes happiness and abundance. In 1972, Kulu Dasra was declared an international festival. The celebrations of Kulu Dasra festival involve music and dance, and the colorful symbol is decorations symbolize happiness and abundance. In 1972, Kulu Dasra was declared an international festival. In 2016, the festival made its way to the Guinness World Records for bringing together more than 9,000 dancers for the largest voluntary folk dance performance. Although the Dasra festival is celebrated in different parts of India, Nepal, and Malaysia, only the week-long festival in Kulu holds the status of an international festival. Following the COVID-19 pandemic, the 2021 Kulu Dasra celebrations were altered to ensure safety, and there were strict social distancing, crowd control measures enforced in different states. Members of public were advised to stay indoors. In the past, Kulu Valley was known as Kuluta. And at the International Folk Dance Festival, which was organized in 2015, during Kulu Dasra, artists from countries like Russia, Portugal, Kazakhstan, India, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, Nepal, and Taiwan perform. And animal sacrifices has stopped being part of Kulu Dasra celebrations since 2014. The Raghunath idol was once stolen from the temple in December 2014, but soon it was restored. More than 4 lakh to 5 lakh people, tourists, visit Kulu Valley to celebrate Kulu Dasra. Today is also International African Penguin Awareness Day. International African Penguin Awareness Day You are going to come down with the worst case of cuteness overloaded to you ever had in your life. The first thing that comes to mind when you hear the word penguin is called ice cold weather. But that's not the case for the African penguin. In fact, there are certain species of penguins that live in warm climates. The Galapagos penguin, the northernmost of these species, lives right on the equator. And African penguins are a species of penguins found on the African continent. African Penguin Awareness Day is celebrated each year with the aim of raising awareness around the plight of American penguins and their rapid decline in numbers. So the number of African penguins has declined dramatically in the last century. The youth estimates suggest a grim The availability of a sufficient food source is one of the biggest challenge threats these birds face, at the moment the African penguin release relies heavily on small fish such as anchovies and sardines, which are in short supply due to overfishing as well as the changes in marine ecosystem caused by climate change. The adult penguins have to swim further and further away from their nesting grounds to find food, which is potentially 20 years. The availability of a sufficient food source is one of the biggest threats that these birds face at the moment. The African penguin relies heavily on small fish such as anchovies and sardines, which are in short supply due to overfishing, as well as the changes in the marine ecosystem caused by climate change. The adult penguins have to swim further and further away from their nesting grounds to find food, which is potentially dangerous for the offsprings as well as the adult birds. And other factors such as pollution, habitat loss, predation by marine and terrestrial animals, diseases, and other human interventions are also contributing to their continued decline in penguin numbers. International African Penguin Awareness Day is our chance to help these majestic birds once again become a thriving part of the ecosystem so that they will continue to preserve the special place they have in our hearts. In 2019, the total breeding population across South Africa and Namibia falls to a historic low of 20,850 pairs in 2019, leaving only the last ones left. And the average lifespan of an African penguin is 10 to 27 years in the world. They can live up to 30 years in captivity. Some penguins species mate for life. Gentoo, rockhoppers, and chinstrap species are monogamous. Adeline feline females find their old mates within a few minutes of arriving at the colony each session or season. Non-breeding African penguins cope up with the heat by spending most of the day at sea, regularly swimming or loafing on the beach in groups. Penguins that are out in open during the day usually turn their backs to the sun so that their feet, flippers, and face are shaded. So recycle and if possible, avoid using plastic as much as possible. When choosing food items, make sure you pick only sustainably sourced seafood and species on SAS's green list. Remember, even the smallest efforts can bring about biggest changes. One must obey the rules when revisiting local penguin colonies. You must not try to get very close to the penguins, even if the cuteness is harder to resist. Maintain at least 3 meters between you and the birds. No one like rude guests. And be a good citizen of this planet and contribute as much as you can. Educate yourself and others around you about the plight of African penguins, and you can do your part in ensuring the survival of these marvelous birds. A group of penguins is called a raft. Penguins spend up to 80% of their lives out of sea. They swallow fish with the help of fleshy spines inside their mouths, and they don't have teeth. They swallow fish and penguin suits act as a camouflage. Their black back's wide front helps disguise them from predators. And penguins are waterproof. Oil produced by the preen gland insulates their bodies and improves hydrodynamics. And Many male penguins give rocks to female penguins to woo them. Females use rocks to build a nest. And penguins are important for the environment, as we have seen, being an integral part of our ecosystem. Penguin feces help fertilize the land with nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and organic carbon. They are an important part of the food chain, acting as a prey to predators like leopards, seals, orcas, and seabirds in colder regions, and pumas, mongooses, and crabs in warmer climates. And penguins are amazing and super swimmers with speeds reaching over 10 miles per hour. They can jump up to 7 feet in the air and also dive down to depths of 1,800 feet in the water. Penguins would be unbeatable if they were to participate in the Olympics. And penguins are smart, don't just look sharp, but are extremely intelligent creatures. They are highly capable creatures and they are known to be self-aware. They use tools and communicate with each other and have observed to form intricate communities and hierarchies in groups. So today is also Global Hand Washing Day. And we hope that hand washing is a regular practice that you do every day. But today is a little more. Until COVID-19 happened, hand washing and its importance in helping preventing the spread of diseases is something that most of us probably never gave much thought of. But the global pandemic has really shown a light on the importance of hand washing, meaning this day now carries extra relevance, even though it has been around since 2008. This day was founded by Global Hand Washing Partnership as an opportunity to design and implement creative ways to encourage people to wash their hands with soap, especially during critical times. The first Global Hand Washing Day was held in 2008. Since then, the community as well as national leaders and influencers have used this national holiday to spread awareness about the value of clean hands. It really is valuable message. Hand washing is such a simple practice, but it can really make all the difference and save lives. Global Hand Washing Day continues to grow. It is endorsed by schools, governments, international institutions, private companies, civil society organizations, and many more. And to create a culture of hand washing with soap in all societies, to create awareness on the state of hand washing in each country, to inform people about the benefits of hand washing with soap are the three aims of Global Hand Washing Day. India was one of the biggest participants of Global Hand Washing Day in 2008. Cricket legend Sachin Tendulkar and his teammates joined an estimated of 100 million children in promoting better health and hygiene. Only 60% of the world population has access to basic hand washing facility. So everyone does not have the access. And hand washing isn't available for everyone. Currently, there are 17 countries where more than 10 million people lack hand washing facilities. The availability of the soap and water at hand washing facilities varies. In Ethiopia, only 0.1% of the households had soap and water at the hand washing facility, while in Iraq, 91% had these items available. So clean hands to save lives. Especially critical times such as COVID. It creates awareness, but not everybody realizes that Global Hand Washing Day is here to make people more aware of the difference washing your hands can make. And hand washing with soap is one of the most basic, healthiest habits that we can pick up. And today is also Bridge Day, especially in US. If you are an adventure lover, extreme sports addict, or an adrenaline junkie, you will love Bridge Day. Despite the name implies, Bridge Day isn't a day to celebrate architectural beauty of bridges all over the world. Bridge Day is a festival held in Fayetteville, West Virginia in the United States, where thousands of adventure lovers either watch or take part in various extreme sports that largely involve jumping off the New River George Bridge. About 1 lakh people arrive at Fatigue Country on the third weekend in October every year to take part in the Bridge Day festivities. The New River Gorge Bridge Day Commission organizes the event and closes the bridge to automobiles for the event. In June 1974, construction began of the New River George Bridge, and 3 years later, on October 22, 1977, the bridge was opened to general public. The bridge was the oldest, longest single-span arch bridge for 26 years and now is the fifth longest because of the bridge's whooping 876 feet height. It was a natural attraction for daredevils around the world. The initial person to jump off the bridge was Covens Burton Irwin, a coal mine foreman who jumped off the bridge on August 1st, 1979, causing a conventional parachute. Using a conventional parachute. The first bridge was held on the River George Bridge in 1980 with the attendance of roughly 40,000 people. And Bridge Day has been held on the third Saturday of October every year, apart from in 2001 after the tragic bombings of September 11 and 2020 COVID-19 pandemic respectively. The events of the day revolve around daredevil base jumps, rappels, and water rafting, among many others. BASE is an acronym that stands for different places. Base jumps can be made from buildings, antenna, radio masts, spans, bridges, and earths, cliffs. So bungee jumping was a major event on the Bridge Day, with the first confirmed Bridge Day bungee jumper being the Skip Stanley, popularly known as Blue Bandit, who jumped off the bridge during the 1985 Bridge Day. However, bungee jumping is no longer part of the Bridge Day festivities. It was banned in 1994 because of the length of the time it took to reel bungee jumpers back up. Bridge Day has been part of many world records. In 1992, Chris Allen, a New Zealander, set the record for the world's longest bungee jump from a fixed structure during 1992 Bridge Day activities. A year later, he also set the world record for the most people in a single bungee jump when he had and 6 others did a bungee jump off the bridge in a large basket. And because of these extreme sports over the years, officially, 3 people have died during Bridge Day because of various base jumping related accidents. In 1983, Michael Glenn Williams died when his gear was caught in the current after his jump, and this was because there was only one rescue boat available at that time, and a problem which has been fixed today with the provision of multiple rescue boats, with at least one boat always being available before a jump. In 1987, Steve Gersting used a gear that was not base specific and died when his main chute refused to deploy during his jump. The third death was in 2006 when Brian Lee Sherbert died after falling to deploy his parachute in time. And before you can base jump off the bridge, you need to pre-register and pay certain fees. And jump passes cost around $75, and registration typically begins in July of every year. And the new River Cords Bridge can be accessed by foot, and the most popular is to walk on the actual bridge on Bridge Day. The only day the bridge is open to pedestrians and closed to motor vehicles, or can join a guided tour. The less popular alternative is to go on a scheduled bridge walk under the bridge. You will be put in safety harness as you walk across the 2 feet wide catwalk under the bridge. Today is also National Fetch Day. In US, grab your dog and the nearest Chuck It toy because today is National Fetch Day, a chance to get out in the yard, get some exercise, and build some memories. Fetch may be one of the oldest bonding activities between dogs and their humans, but Check It, the creators of National Fetch Day, have improved the experience for everyone involved. Chuck It is bringing the celebration across the country in partnership with Check It's favorite restaurant and dog-friendly pub partners, all rocking it and outfit with Chuck It. Fetch packs stuffed with great Chuck It gear and a few surprises for your little fetch buddy. Go support your local pub and pet. It's perfect way to fuel up before heading outside to play fetch with your dog. And there is an official website also for National Fetch Day on petmate.com, where you can score various prizes and also get a lot of freebies, especially in US. And there are 4 spotlight events and 25 pub parties nationwide. And in Nashville, Dallas, and Asheville, at 3 places. The fetch may be a game played between a dog and his human, but it has its roots tens and thousands of years ago, and the game being played was survival. Recent science indicates that the first dogs were domesticated by humans sometime between 18,000 and 32,000 years ago. Their wolf ancestors slowly progressed from hunting competitors into hunting partners, leading to their general domestication as pets over the millennia. This is where fetch comes in. As a hunting partner, dogs played several different roles, one of which being to retrieve food. Think the bloodhound from duck hunt, but without the snacky laughter. The breeds that were best at it, critical component were the ones that were likely to stick around, becoming the fetch lovers we love today. Eventually, the need to fetch food was replaced by far less survivalistic endeavors like snuggling and taking up to whole bed. And so the process of fetch became the game of fetch, only this time with a greater bonding component. So why dogs play fetch? Turns out they are chemically and psychologically disposed to game, plays fetch, playing fetch feels good to them. The exercise creates a sort of runner's high that triggers the reward regions in their brains. The tickling of the reward regions becomes self-reinforcing. Dogs who feel good playing fetch play fetch more. And there is also a bonding component. Dogs are notoriously loyal animals, and the bond created between a dog and his human being playing fetch has a significant impact on the relationship. It provides much needed exercise for the dog and who we are kidding the human too, and reinforces the relationship chemically and psychologically. Dogs love fetch. They play fetch with their humans. Dogs love their humans. What lovely math. Eh? And today is also World Students' Day that commemorates birthday of former Indian President Abul Pakir Jainuddin Abdul Kalam. That is APJ Abdul Kalam was born on October 15th, 1931 to a Muslim family in the pilgrimage center of Rameswaram on Pamban Island, India. It is a landslide victory that he became the 11th President of the Republic of India on July 18, 2002. During his 5-year tenure, Kalam was deeply loved by people and fondly called the People's President. World Students' Day is celebrated on October 15th because the day marks the birthday of India's former president, late Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. However, there are there is a controversy surrounding origin of this holiday, although some sources claim it was established and is currently observed by the United Nations. There is no evidence pointing to the fact. In reality, the only international day observed by the UN on October 15th is the International Day of Rural Women. Furthermore, it has been alleged that the National Information Officer of the UN Information Center, Rajiv Chandran, stated that the UN had never declared such a day. Nevertheless, World Students' Day aims to recognize the impact Kalam had on India's education sector. Abul Pakir Jainuddin Abdul Kalam was born on October 15, 1931 to a Tamil Muslim family in the pilgrimage center of Rameswaram on Pamban Island, which is very famous for the Hindu religion and temples. He graduated with a physics degree from St. Joseph College, Tiruchirappalli, After graduating from the Madras Institute of Technology, where he studied aerospace engineering, he joined the aeronautical development establishments of the Defense Research and Development Organization, in short known as DRDO. He experienced a brilliant and illustrious career as a scientist, becoming India's most famous nuclear scientist in the 1990s. Kalam became the 11th President of the Republic of India on July 18, 2002. He was deeply loved and fondly called the People's President during his 5-year tenure. Post-presidency, he lectured in several higher institutions. He was a visiting professor at the Indian Institute of Management, Shillong, and honorary fellow of the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and Chancellor of the Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology, as well as many other positions. Kalam received 7 honorary doctorates from 40 universities, indicating the brilliance in his field. On July 27, 2015, while delivering a lecture at the Indian Institute of Management, Shillong, he suffered a cardiac arrest and passed away at Bethany Hospital. In 2010, World Students' Day is created and observed for the first time in the honor of President Abdul Kalam. And his entire life, Abdul Kalam remained a lifelong bachelor. From being an average student to becoming India's 11th president, Kalam achieved many great feats during his life. He was living proof that our past doesn't define our future. Motivate yourself by learning important lessons from his life. And Kalam made many profound statements that has been immortalized in the minds of many people. And study some of his inspirational quotes and apply them to your life. And he has been very secular in nature, in spite of being born in a Muslim family. And few inspirational quotes by APJ Abdul Kalam. Don't take rest after your first victory, because if you fail in the second, more lips are waiting to say that your first victory was just luck. We see this is quite common, when someone wins for the first time, and we take it to our head, and often we see there are a lot of failures again. So we should be always careful. And many people are, the world is not as good as we assume to. And there are many people who are ready to criticize by saying it was a luck, by chance, it was your victory. So don't take rest. Keep struggling every day. Every is an opportunity. Every day is an opportunity for victory. So don't rest. Keep struggling. Keep trying every day to win. But don't overstress yourself. Just only aiming at victory. Okay, accept the failures as well. It is part of game and life, both victory and loss. But we should always keep striving. That is the point here. So dreams can come true. You have to dream before your dream can come true. So have a dream, visualize what you want to be, and then work on it. And surely one day you will make it come true with persistent efforts, discipline, hard work. Be determined to succeed. Excellence is a continuous process and not an accident. So to succeed, you have to keep doing it on, and it should be a continuous process until you determine to succeed or achieve it. Change your habits. You cannot change your future, but you can change your habits, and surely your habits will change your future. So the basic change that you can do is change your habits, and that will help you change your future. And never give up. If you fail, never give up, because fail means first attempt in learning. So keep learning from your mistakes and never give up. Keep trying. And during his school days, Kalam was regarded as an average student, yet he went on and became the India's most famous nuclear scientist. This proves that no matter what you are, we can overcome our past and become excellent in life. No matter at what age or at what stage, you can still overcome your hurdles and become excellent or thrive in your life. We have seen many people who failed their entire life, and in their 60s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, they made their fortune. So don't give up on your life. Keep going on, keep moving on, and consistently keep working on with discipline, commitment, dedication, and sincerity. And one day you will make your fortune, and one day you will make your dream come true. And Kalam, during his term as president, he touched the hearts of the people. In a time when political leaders were often being corrupt and self-centered, he charted a different path and positively impacted the country. And during his career as scientist, Kalam became and known as a missile man of India. He made history when we worked on developing ballistic missiles and launch vehicle technology. He had a massive part in the Pokhran 2 nuclear test in 1988. And he was a beloved leader and an excellent scientist. And Kalam and cardiologist Somaraju designed a low-cost coronary stent, naming it after themselves, known as the Kalam Raju stent in 1998, which is now made a stent accessible and affordable to everyone who requires it, and has become a low-cost option available for heart patients, for those who need these stunts. And we can see, because of Kalam, poverty, and hailing from poor family, Kalam sold newspapers as a boy to add to his family's meager income. And he was the highest civilian honor received, known as Bharat Ratna. You can see, always we can start low. We can start from ground level. We can start from nothing or from something, and to reach the highest positions. You can see how Abdul Kalam, who hailed from the poorest family, but reaches the highest position, the President of India, and a prominent person as a missile man of India, and also received highest civilian honor, Bharat Ratna. And as an Indian president, Kalam had the power to grant pardons or suspend death sentences. However, he ignored the pleas of a rapist who was later hanged. Kalam also wanted a second tenure, expressed his willingness to consider a second tenure as president, but changed his mind and decided not to contest again. And Kalam lived a very simple life. He never had even a television. We see a lot of time we either stick ourselves to mobile or TV, wasting a lot of our time. You know how much time we waste on mobiles by watching videos, by watching soaps, movies, and all. Lot of precious time can be utilized in a productive work. And the last words of Abdul Kalam was asking his aide, "Funny guy, are you doing well?" before passing. And Kalam, as you know, he has received so many honorary doctorates. And yes, he was a doctor. And today is also White Cane Safety Day. It is very important for visually challenged people. White Cane Safety Day is also observed annually on 15th October. It is a day dedicated to visually impaired people. The white cane represents their remarkable achievements and symbolizes their independence. Traveling aids for the blind, like canes, staff, and sticks, have been around for a long time, but it was only in 20th century that white canes came into existence and became a symbol used by the blind to alert others. It is said that James Bigg, a photographer, it is said that James Bigg, a photographer from Bristol, was one who came up with the concept of white canes. In 1921, Briggs met with an accident which resulted in blindness, and the number of vehicles on the roads was rising during that period. So Briggs decided to paint his cane white in order to be easily visible to motorists as well as other pedestrians. In France, musician and writer Guliti Herbenmount launched a scheme for the blind named the National White Stick Movement. She handed over the white canes to many blind people throughout France, including World War I veterans. This was well received in the United Kingdom as well. The United Kingdom proposed that blind people be given white canes and that it be universally recognized as an indicator that person carrying it was blind. In the United States, it was the Lions Club International that suggested the idea of giving white canes to the blind. For the war veterans, the long white canes not only acted as an identifier, but as a tool for mobility. On October 6, 1964, President Lyndon B. Johnson and the US Congress signed a joint resolution and proclaimed October 15th to be celebrated as White Cane Safety Day every year. And in 1944, the Hoover method was developed. Richard E. Hoover at Valley Forge Army Hospital develops and teaches the Hoover method or the long cane method to many blind citizens. So if you see a person carrying a white cane that has a red tip, it means the person is deaf blind, both deaf and blind. A completely white cane means visually impairment only. So you can identify a person if he or she is carrying a white cane, that means she or he is a visually impaired. If the person is carrying white cane with a red tip, then it means the person is deaf as well as blind, both. And yes, it is legally to carry a white cane on an airplane, but only after it has been screened by the X-ray machine. And what are these white canes made of? To make the white canes lightweight and durable, materials like aluminum, fiberglass, or carbon fiber are used to manufacture them. And yes, they come in foldable canes where you can use them and carry them by folding it, making them convenient to store when they are not in use. So what we can do on this day, we can distribute, we can give out white canes to people who need them. There are still many visually impaired people who do not possess a white cane. Get some white canes and distribute them among those who in need. And many people are not aware of white cane laws, such as blind individual with a white cane has a right of way. This includes both people who are blind and people who are sighted. Make use of this day to spread awareness about white cane laws. And you can either conduct seminars, webinars in your neighborhood, or do it online like we are doing now. So do something special for the blind. It would be the perfect opportunity to remind those who suffer from the loss of sight that they are so much more than their impairment. If you have a blind person in your community or circle, show them some love by doing something that will have an impact on their lives. Tell them about career opportunities, laws that they are unaware of, or help them learn Braille if they haven't already. So they have the right of way. The blind person with a white cane or a guide dog has the right of way. So let us understand that and give them way ahead. Do not honk your horn. You should not honk your horn at a blind person, as they wouldn't have any idea where the sound is coming from and may become startled by the noise. Stop your vehicle 10 feet away. You must stop your vehicle before approaching closer than 10 feet to a pedestrian with a white cane or a mobility device. Everyone cannot carry a white cane. So carrying a white cane, unless you are partially or fully blind, is a punishable offense. So there are 3 types of white canes. There is also standard cane for navigation, the support cane for mobility, and the ID cane for people with partial sight. There are estimated that over 250 million people worldwide are visually impaired. So White Cane Safety Day is a day to appreciate the achievements of blind people. It is a reminder to help those who are visually impaired. This gives an opportunity to reach out to people that might need our help. You can attend meetings or events organized on White Cane Safety Day and do something that will help visually impaired people. It's a day to celebrate the symbol of independence White canes are the symbol of independence for visually impaired. This day calls for learning and educating people about the importance of this tool and celebrating this symbol of independence. And today is also Sweetest Day in US. So it is this is day to be sweet by sharing a kind thought, a small gift, or a gesture of kindness. It's a day to give a card with a sweet message to someone you appreciate. Little gifts or candy or another sweets are shared as well. And today is a Universal Music Day. Music has been around since the beginning of mankind, evolving into different forms with the passage of time. It comes in many genres, such as classical, rock, country, and can be further divided into subgenres like country, pop, alternative rock, etc. So music is one of the most creative and universal ways to express ideas, emotions, and opinions, making it an integral part of every culture around the world. It can be played, sung, and most importantly, heard, a process by which most of us ordinary folk can truly appreciate music. Music makes life more meaningful, breaking all the barriers of cultural, religious, social distinction, and uniting us like a perfect playlist of rhythmic excellence. And today is also a shine a light in Ireland when people spend the night away from their safety and comfort of their beds. People sleep outside their homes to raise awareness and funds for the welfare of homeless people. So Focus Ireland introduced this day in 2012 and has helped raise over $7.69 million for homeless people in Ireland. According to a Department of Housing Today report published in the journal.ie, there were more than 8,200 homeless people in Ireland as of December 2020, and the figure is rising. So participate in the campaign to support noble cause. And today is also National Pregnancy and Infant Loss Day, Remembering Day, October 15th in the US. The loss of an infant is devastating. And National Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day honors those lives lost to miscarriage, sudden infant death syndrome, stillbirth, the death of a newborn, and more. National Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day is a day to shatter the culture of silence surrounding infant and pregnancy loss. People defy the social and cultural taboos about the loss of their young ones by sharing their personal experiences and remembering their loss. This International Day is observed particularly in the United States, Canada, and Australia. And take the opportunity to reflect, honor, come together over pregnancy and infant loss. If you have a loved one who has experienced this loss, take the time to give them the love and support needed to process and recover. And today is also National Mushroom Day in US. Portobello, shiitake, button, truffle, these are all mushrooms. So if you don't know, mushrooms are fleshy fruiting bodies of fungi, and there are variety of species, which why we have so many types of mushrooms to choose from. They are staple in vegetarians' diet due to their nutritious value and hard consistency. Plus, they make a delicious side dish for a juicy piece of steak. That means everyone have fun celebrating National Mushroom Day. And today is also National Motorcycle Ride Day in US. The first motorcycle was built in 1885 in Germany and has been dominating the roads ever since. Their popularity has brought about various motorcycle types, and the major ones being street, off-road, and dual purpose. They are further divided into many subtypes. These subtypes often have a racing counterpart. And in 1867, the first coal-fired steam engine motorcycle, the Velocipede, is a two-cylinder steam-powered motorcycle, was introduced. And German company Hildebrand and Wolf Muller are the first to call it the motorcycle and was officially named in 1894. Harley Davidson, William Harley and his friends Arthur and Walter Davidson launched the motor company in 1903. And the holiday is founded for celebrating riding motorcycles in the fall weather in 2015 as National Motorcycle Ride Day. And today is also National Latino AIDS Awareness Day in US, which is the last day of National Hispanic Heritage Month. The sentiment of the population accounted for about 1/4 of all new diagnoses of HIV. The US local organizations across the country use the day to launch prevention campaigns, offer counseling and testing, and hold cultural events. Education can help cure and prevent this even before to find the information on Hispanic. On December 1st, 1988, World Health Organization declared the first AIDS Day on December 1st, 1988. And this was an attempt to bring awareness to the disease. World Health Organization says that AIDS cases have increased 56% worldwide. And the US launched its first National Latino AIDS Awareness Day in October 15, 2003. By this point, there were more cases in African American and Latino people than white people. And today is also National HSA Awareness Day. In US is targeted raising more awareness about the importance of health savings accounts, in short known as HSA. So the medical savings account is used to save money to cover healthcare expenses. The money deposited into such accounts is controlled and monitored by the individual, not an insurance company or employer. Though an employer may contribute to HSA, the account is ultimately under the control of individual and the money remains there even they change jobs. And today is also National Grouch Day to honor the world's favorite grouch, Oscar from Sesame Street. It is it to celebrate all grouches we know or to embrace the grouch that lives inside all of us. No one can stop us from complaining, being irritable, or wallowing in misery because that it was what grouches do. This day teaches us that it's good to spend time processing our negative emotions. On social media, this is a fun day with people posting jokes, memes, funny photos, and stories. Today is also National Costume Swap Day. And we are going to make sure that your favorite characters comes to life. Costumes have been there around for many years and they acted as a cultural image of people from different parts of the world. The term was also used to describe typical appropriate clothing for certain activities such as swimming costume, riding costume, and evening costume, and so on. So gather with your family, colleagues, or neighbors and spread some joy around while keeping your savings intact. And this day presents an amazing opportunity to live out your fantasies without spending any big bucks. Costume swapping day comes just a few weeks before Halloween, which is a great way to start the holidays. And today is also National Cheese Curd Day. And if you are a total cheesehead, then get excited to celebrate. Culver's, a popular Midwestern fast food chain, created this holiday in 2015. And if you don't already know, cheese curds are bite-sized nuggets of cheese. Now you can see why they have a whole day designated to them, right? So cheesy goodnights and celebrate or buying or making, but most importantly, eating cheese curds. And today is also National Aesthetician Day. It's dedicated to millions of aestheticians across the globe who work day and night so that we can look our best. So the word aesthetics is said to have come from Greek word aesthetikos, which roughly translates to appreciable to senses. It's believed the Greeks used olive oil for making their skin resistant to harmful rays of the sun. They also discovered Novacilla, a straight razor used for shaving. The Romans used pumico stones for shaving and plucking hair, are said to have used depilatory creams. So in 1998, a team of aestheticians, doctors, and chemists founded Cosmetics, which is a brand dedicated to skincare and health. In 2016, to honor aestheticians and beauticians, Cosmetics proclaimed October 15th to be celebrated as National Aesthetician Day. And finally, today is the Mother's Day in Malawi. Mother's Day, it is observed as an international day. The history of Mother's Day is tied to Mothering Sunday in the United Kingdom, when people who had moved away returned to their mother in their hometowns. This gradually evolved and people began using it to visit their mothers. And Mother's Day originated through efforts of Anna Jarvis, who created the day to pay tribute to their mother. In Malawi, the word pregnancy in Chichewa is Pakati, which means between life and death. This highlights the stark reality of being a mother is one of the countries with highest maternity mortality rates in the world. However, good news is that these rates have been witnessing a decline in recent years. So with this, we shall conclude today's sessions. And thank you everyone for joining us. And kindly fill up the feedback form before you leave for the day. It's mandatory for receiving certificates. Feedback form has been raised. So quickly fill up the feedback form before you leave the webinar. And see you all tomorrow. Tomorrow, there is an international conference, and it's a wonderful opportunity for everyone, irrespective of their discipline, to present your papers, as we have common themes, especially which is related to everyone, like social reformers. So, hope we all learned about social reformers in our schools, colleges. So it's a great opportunity for everyone, irrespective of our discipline. Now we can come together and celebrate and also commemorate and also present papers on social workers, social reformers, uh, who have contributed through their various campaigns, activities, initiatives. So if I have shared the registration link, you can register and the link will be same, joining link for all the events. Will be starting at tomorrow, 11 o'clock. So be ready with your presentations if you'd like to present and share your details and share among your friends, colleagues, or students, research scholars, where they can present their papers on various social reformers and their contributions to the society, nation at large towards development. So see you all tomorrow at 11 o'clock and look forward for your active participation and presentations tomorrow. Dear friends, quickly fill up the feedback form before you leave the webinar. And kindly fill up all the details without leaving any field. Dear friends, quickly fill up the feedback form before you leave platform. We'll be closing today's webinar. See you all tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Take care. Good night.